Russia and Ukraine are each claiming the other inflicted huge attacks within their territory. Overnight, Russian officials say 3 drones were shot down in the Bryansk region. Quite an explosion. And early Wednesday morning, Russia experienced the biggest drone assault on its territory since it launched its war on Ukraine. Meanwhile, Russia hit Kyiv with a massive bombardment, the biggest officials say since the spring. CNN's Nada Bashir is following the story from London. Nada, I want to start with the drone attacks within Russia. What is the latest there?
Well, look, Omar, we've certainly seen an uptick over recent weeks of these drone attacks on Russian territory. As you mentioned there just this morning, yet another attempted drone attack, according to local authorities, targeting Moscow, the capital in Russia. And of course, as you mentioned there, another 3 drones reportedly shot down in the Russian region of Bryansk. Now, Russian authorities say their air defenses have been successful in thwarting these attacks. But as you mentioned, that this comes just a day after the largest drone assault we've seen on Russian territory since the beginning of the war. Now, of course, it is important to note that Ukrainian authorities typically do not acknowledge or admit responsibility for such attacks. In fact, we've heard from an advisor to the presidential office saying that Ukraine adheres to its strict orders not to use such weapons supplied by its partners against Russian territory. But we have seen a sharp increase in these drone attacks. This is becoming a key element in the war between Russia and Ukraine. Of course, we saw multiple regions targeted on Wednesday by these drone attacks, causing some infrastructural damage. We saw at least 4 military aircrafts sustaining damage as a result of these drone attacks. Several airports in Russia forced to temporarily close. So this is having an impact. And we've heard in the past from Ukrainian authorities, again, while not directly acknowledging responsibility for such drone attacks, they have said that they will continue to see an increase in the scale and the range of such attacks so long as Russian troops remain on Ukrainian land and in Ukrainian waters. And of course, we've heard from an advisor to the president who has said that the war is increasingly moving towards Russian territory. This is becoming a key factor within the war. And of course, as drones become used ever more by the Ukrainian authorities, we could potentially see further attacks against Russian territory.
Yeah. Nada Bashir, thank you so much.
Investigative producer Katie Polglaze has been monitoring these developments for us, and she joins us now with more. Katie, we've actually heard from the British Ministry of Defence. They believe that Moscow is likely to reconsider its air defences around airfields as a result of these attacks. How might that happen?
Well, it's a good point, Bianca, because clearly drone warfare, the use of these drones, is happening with increasing regularity, and it's increasingly showing it's going to be shaping the conflict to come. And it's worth noting here that these drones, if they are Ukrainian drones, they are very likely to be homemade, made in Ukraine, because the agreements that Ukraine has with its Western allies, it gets military equipment, among that drones, is that it is not to be used in Russian territory. And so if these are Ukrainian, if they are the ones deploying these with increasing regularity, it is likely they are manufactured in Ukraine, which hints to a domestic manufacturing capability increasing, which could really change where the war is going. And as you pointed out there in that lead-in, there is an increasing number of range in these drone attacks. This is not just the front line anymore. This is close to Moscow, this is in the north, this is in the south as well. And I think that really speaks to the sort of intention here as well, to create a sense of angst, a sense of anxiety, because let's not forget these drone attacks are not having serious damage as far as we know. There are no casualties, there's no serious damage to buildings as far as we know. But clearly the intention here is to bring the war back to the Russian people, make the Russian people feel the impact of this war in the way that the Ukrainian people are clearly feeling it. The same night that the most serious drone attack happened, there was also a drone attack and a missile attack on Kyiv. 2 people dead as a result, others injured as well. So clearly this is happening at the same time Ukraine is feeling it back home. And we saw yesterday from Ukraine's special advisor to the president, he said that this war is increasingly moving to Russia's territory and it cannot be stopped. So although he's not claiming credibility and responsibility for this attack, that is clearly the intention here, that Ukraine is telling Russia here that the war is going to be felt on their own front.
And these type of drone attacks, obviously, as far as Ukraine's concerned, a form of asymmetric warfare, as you say, that creates more uncertainty when Russia has the advantage economically and in terms of manpower. Katie Polglaze, thank you so much.